Hi, folks. Just one big story to talk about this week, and that is ChatGPT. So, in case you've been living under a rock for the last week or so, ChatGPT is an AI powered chatbot developed by OpenAI. So, they're the people behind the DALL-E 2 image creation AI tools, which are also very awesome. ChatGPT is a text based program which has been trained on masses and masses of data, and it can talk to you kind of like a human, and it's pretty freaky. It can pull loads of different data. It understands what you're saying. It's powered by a natural language processing system. So it's been freaking people out. There's been loads of people who are testing out lots of different creative ideas, asking it different questions, asking it to write poems and plays and code and all sorts of stuff. There are lots of potential applications for it, which could possibly or almost certainly will disrupt digital marketing in quite a big way. So the first one is search. So the difference between the kind of output you get on ChatGPT compared with Google is kind of staggering. So whereas with Google, if you ask it a question, you have SERP features like featured snippets and related questions. It's very useful, obviously, which is why we all use Google, but it relies on somebody else already having written some content which is about the subject that you're asking about. So if it's quite a technical or niche or specific question, Google often doesn't have an answer for you, whereas ChatGPT does. It will answer your exact query and do it in a very compelling and convincing way. So you can find examples of this all over the web, but people have been comparing the answers to very technical questions between GPT and Google and getting far superior responses on ChatGPT. One area where it's where it's not able to perform better than Google is in real-time information. So it's stuff like news and information that's been recently added to the internet. That's because it's been trained on a massive data set, but it's a couple of years old. So a lot of the information that you'll get kind of stops at about 2020. That said, there are already people building applications and talking about ways that they could improve this, connect it to search, and get you that information. So don't expect that to stay the case forever. There are lots of other ways that it could potentially impact on the marketing world. Another one is social media. So it can write social content really easily. If you just give it a prompt, it can come up with copy for you. I actually ran a little test myself just to see what it was like. So I asked it for a creative and engaging social media post. This is what it came up with. And I then tweeted this myself on my own account to see whether it did indeed get loads of engagement. So far, it's just had one like. So clearly, it's not setting the world alight just yet. But it was a very short prompt. So I'm sure if I played around with it for a bit, I could do a bit better. But that said, I guess it's all right, kind of funny. And given more information, it could produce much better content. So, yeah, I'm still pretty impressed, despite the lower levels of engagement than I might have hoped for. So, yeah, it's very good. Basically, there are different ways of thinking about it. I think the social copywriting, though good, is not amazing. So it's kind of better to think about ChatGPT rather than thinking about it as having one really super smart person working with you. It's better to think about it as having loads and loads of kind of average people who can go and search any information for you and then produce content and produce ideas around that. So it does that very effectively, and it can come up with lists of ideas and strategies. I think the places where it's less likely to replace us humans in the near term, and the place where we should probably be focusing our efforts is as a digital marketer, you want to learn to use tools well. So ChatGPT being one of them. But then the other one is decision making. So one thing it's not going to do for us is make decisions, because when AI start making all of the decisions for humans, then we're really in trouble. As yet, that's not the case. So, deciding on what your proposition is, deciding on what direction you want to take your business, deciding on what platforms to focus on, deciding on where you should be spending your money, all of these kinds of things, they're for humans to make. Also, great copywriters are still great copywriters. That human creativity, although AI is now clearly getting closer, it's not quite there yet. So there's still room for people, is the good news. The bad news is that AI is catching up fast and, might overtake us one day. But we'll see. So yeah, that's everything on ChatGPT. There are loads of examples out there. I would love to hear from you if you found stuff that I haven't mentioned that's cool or interesting. Get in touch. I'd love to see it because I find all of this stuff super, super interesting. That's it on ChatGPT. One quick note on Twitter is that it does seem like the advertisers are returning. So Twitter have made some big incentives to entice advertisers to return. They're going to double your impressions if you spend over $500,000. So clearly aimed at the upper end. All through this Elon takeover, our results on Twitter have been getting better and better and better. I think that's because, as I've mentioned, users have been going up and advertisers were going down. The fact that user growth is going to continue and that the platform is going to improve over time, they've got lots of improvements planned, as I've discussed before, I think is all good news for Twitter and Twitter marketers. So, interesting to see that they are slowly returning, as I kind of thought they would do. So that's it from me this week. Please do get in touch with any cool examples of stuff that you've seen out there. I will see you again next week.